Live in quarantine from her house, here's today's host, Ashley Black.
Hey guys, joining with me today is a really good friend of ours, Flower Fanatic, and joining with us is their owner, Maria Alejandra Peralta. Yay! Hi Maria, how are you?
Hey, how are you, Ashley? Thank you for having me today.
I'm grateful. So great to see you. How are you doing? Are you home right now?
We are certainly home. We have been home for almost a month now.
Yeah.
And trying to kind of line ourselves up to the month of May, which is a month that a lot of us love.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm very excited to have you with us. For those who don't know, Maria is an owner of such a wonderful, wonderful company. And for those who don't know about what it is that you do, because, I'm curious as well, first with the florist, if you're brick and mortar, what is it, working from home. Can you tell the audience what it is that, what you offer for Flower Fanatic?
Absolutely. Well, Flower Fanatic is an online floral boutique that offers flower arrangements for any occasion. And we also have the privilege of doing social events, such as weddings and birthdays and other corporate events.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly, it's not how we started, but it's where we are now. So we are able to both do the retail service and also events.
That's perfect. So in this situation, do you normally operate from home? Is this something that, has it stopped you or slowed you down?
That's a great question, because we started from home 4 years ago. Okay. And I have been able to make some amazing magic in my 1,000 square foot apartment. But since last October, we were able to move in with our good friends from Jubilee Rental, and we have a studio in their space, which has completely made the creative process easier, not only for myself, but for my team and also for my family. There were times that, my kids would have to kind of jump around all the florals in our home. And as much as we love the fragrance that flower give us, we were competing with space. So it had a wonderful impact when it came to the big hallmark holidays like the Valentine's, Mother's Day, and now being able to have a space. It really allows us to enjoy the process.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So are you using that space right now, or are you home in quarantine and you're not social, you're not doing it?
Right. Ashley, I think that because this is something that nobody was really prepared for, and we don't have somewhat of a historic or similar event that we could kind of prepare ourselves. Yeah. As we're still figuring it out. My priority was my family, understanding what was the most important thing. So I have, 2 small children, and we had to help them transition into virtual learning.
Yeah.
And in my experience, our school, did a wonderful job in helping the kids feel that things had changed, but not completely. And for me as a parent, it was very important to be, at home, looking at the dynamics and helping them in that sense. And also kind of learning what we were going to do as a company, as a boutique, small business, with the team, making them safe, understanding that the financial burden was going to be a reality for everyone. Yeah. And then for myself, we're always on the go. I could not tell you how many times I have told myself, wow, you're such a homebody. I had trained myself to be very comfortable out and about, but I enjoy being home. You could pay me to stay home. And, within that, there's been a lot of positive things that I have been able to do for myself as a woman,
Yeah.
As a caregiver, I have made time for myself. So that was, pretty much how we were able to transition and somewhat see this break as something that, yes, there's um, a lot of uncertainty still, but what is it that we can somewhat control?
Yeah. Yeah. A little bit of a silver lining from it too. Definitely some quality time coming from this.
Yes, I think that we all could benefit from it.
Yeah. And we're very grateful. I mean, to not be considered essential, but to still have this option. At what point did you feel comfortable moving forward and operating again, or picking up a flower and wanting to start to work?
Well, once you understand the supply chain, for us, for me especially, knowing that my main suppliers were closing doors to kind of restructure their operations, for me it was like, okay, they're closing doors. I am somewhat going to have to deal with those consequences. And I didn't feel that going to new suppliers was even an option, just because, as I shared, I prioritized on, staying with the family. But also, I didn't want to jeopardize the quality of our flowers, of our products, just because I still needed to, operate. So once we started hearing that, our suppliers were opening doors following the CDC protocol and our local government, protocol,
Mm-hmm.
then we're like, okay, this is great. This is wonderful, because that means that, Mother's Day from a business stand is one of the most important holidays for us, or hallmark holidays.
Yeah.
As a mom myself, I have to say that the idea of flowering a mom, it's a huge commitment for me. Like, I take every design piece with this emotional connection, and given that we have done or gone through so much as moms, as dads, as families, just the possibility of making something special for them has me like thrilled. Like, I'm like, I know it's gonna be, very crazy, but I am so ready for the crazy, because it's really for the best reasons.
Definitely. And Easter just passed. Did you see any interest in flowers, or start to an increase, or what has the response been like lately for your business?
In the past, I haven't designed any Easter collections. So this year, honestly, I wanted to make it more of a craft project for my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And we were able to do some fun things, and use the recycling, repurposing concept that I use a lot in my designs and the way that I do things.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I have had more requests for, birthdays and just because, in the month of April, more than Easter.
That's wonderful. Do you think that has to do a lot with the social distancing and the situation that we're going through, that people are trying to give more flowers?
Actually, I think that when there's so much noise going on, we tend to leave things for the last minute, because we are like trying to deal with so many things. I think that this social distancing, this time away, has given us the time to really be thoughtful in the process. And I'm one of those that I really encourage people to be thoughtful. You can spend $1,000 in a flower arrangement, but if you're giving them something that doesn't speak to them, that it's not within the color palette that they love, or we use a lot of signature vessels, that it's not their style, so most likely that vessel is gonna go into the storage.
Yeah.
So it's an opportunity to be very thoughtful, and I've seen that with Mother's Day. My first order came 2 weeks ago,
Okay.
which is very different than previous years.
And why would you say that was different?
But I think that, especially, and not to say anything about our fellow gentlemen, but with Valentine's, for example, my clients, they come in, 24 hours or the day of, like, oh, I forgot it's Valentine's, and they place an order.
Yeah.
Which my way of doing it, I like things to be, enough time to be able to deliver what I know my clients are expecting of us.
Mm-hmm.
With Mother's Day, ladies are involved in the ordering process. So, yes, I have to say that either you have, the moms telling the husband, like, I want an arrangement from, this particular designer. Also, we have the ladies doing this for their moms, for their sisters, for their grandmothers. And so I think that has made a difference, that, in this particular celebration, both men and women are involved.
Yeah.
And it gives an opportunity to get orders ahead of time.
Absolutely. I think that's why Mother's Day is probably even bigger than Valentine's Day, right? People come from a mother than they do.
Absolutely. And I see that for us, Valentine's, if it hits us on a Friday or a Saturday, this year was a Friday, it does affect the floral industry, because our clients have perhaps other plans. They go away, they go to dinner, and flowers are not seen as the first option. Right? Jewelry, perfumes, like, different type of elements that come into play for Valentine's. So Mother's Day, I just think in terms of flowers, they're just a must. Even if you give them something else, if your mother loves flowers, then they have to be part of the recipe.
Yeah. And Mother's Day is such a cool opportunity because you can do different types of flowers, not only from like plants, but also arrangements, right? So what is it, have you adjusted to what you're putting out there because of the pandemic, and are you making more of one thing or another? Or do you want to first say what it is that you're offering and then how you're adjusting to this situation?
There were different trains of thought when I was looking at what flowers and what designs we could offer. Obviously, locally in Florida, we do have access to succulents, which is one of the elements that I've loved to work with in the past. Yeah. Not because I love their textures and their varieties, but also they last a longer period of time. Yeah. Also, orchids. It's something that we now say that we have here in Florida. So I was like, that is my safe route, offering that. But then I was like, I do have the wonderful novelty collection that I'm very proud that, we are able to offer not only locally, but also ship nationwide. And our fresh flowers, people want fresh flowers, and they will always be my first love, my first choice. But yeah, with the pandemic, you need to understand, what the farms are producing at this point, what's coming in from which country. Then, the price point as well, for you to stay competitive. And I'm very excited to see how many colleagues have, really giving our community the opportunity to order flowers from different designers. Yeah. So fresh flowers, for a lot of us are a must for their aromatherapy, for their texture. So I really thought about some of our traditional flowers this time. I work a lot with signature flowers, but I knew that the availability and the cost might not be allowing us to think of it as a first choice. Mm-hmm. So that's why there's a lot of color and texture within the Mother Day designs that we did for this year, and following those things that we know, those florals that are coming in.
How you make it into something so much more romantic and lifelike, and you wouldn't even think that it's preserved. And you know, for it to not be a silk arrangement, to actually, you know, have it as a real lifelike flower. I'm very curious, you know, how the transition has been for your audience and bringing this type of product out to the market, and the response you've been receiving from it. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, you know, I have to thank Jet Fresh, because when it came to looking at the best products that I could use for this collection, you know, you guys gave me not only in terms of inventory a lot of options, but you were extremely resourceful, and you know, in the it's when we talk about preserved and dry flowers.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, as a business owner, as a flower fanatic, I'm always looking at innovative ways of introducing something to our clients. And even though 90% of my clients come to us for the fresh signature flowers, there's also a market that it's like, you know, I love flowers and I love them so much, but I want them to last longer. So that's where the preserved collection comes in. That's why novelty has been gaining popularity, because as you can see, you know, there's a lot of dance, there's a lot of, you know, you can really appreciate them. Look at this. This is one of your last products to come in. Fern will say that it's a peony. I tell him that it's a Juliet. It's a garden rose. And it really just allows us to give that very fresh, natural look.
It's awesome.
And it will last, you know, a year or more, depending on, you know, the elements of the environment. So you can't go wrong with that, you know. And now we're able to go nationwide, and really just send them to all those that are flower fanatics. So I'm very excited. And even though this was something we launched at the beginning of the year, look at how it's now making even more sense.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as far as shipping friendly, and, you know, something that's dry and doesn't require water, you know, you're not worried about, you know, the life changing so quickly, and the symbolism inside of something that lasts longer. You know, people sometimes feel a little sad that it, you know, has a shortened vase life for fresh flowers, but preserves gives it such a great opportunity. As a designer, how do you find working with them? Do you find challenges, or what's your insight? Yeah.
I think that's why it took me very long to finally move forward with the collection, because it is labor intensive. Everything is secured by hand. So, you know, I don't have any equipment or anything that it's going to allow the process to be very ABC. So it is time, the labor that requires to do a preserved, you know, it's twice or three times the time that it would be a fresh flower. So with that, you know, you use a little bit more material as well, just because you need to secure them properly, and especially if you're shipping them, you know that there's going to be a lot of movement. So that's why also, you know, the price, because now you're not only looking at the product itself, but also the time, the time that goes into it. So, you know, we're gonna really look at this year, even though we've had, you know, some hiccups with closing down, and see the response, you know, that we're able to see how we can develop more products that are preserved. You know, as you can see in the market, we have the flower crowns, we have the floral centerpieces. I've had a request for a bridal bouquet.
That's awesome.
So I'm excited. And, you know, if I'm going to ship this to another state, there is always those nerves of, oh my goodness, you know, you want your client to open that box and have it be intact, right? But it's somewhat out of my hands to think that I won't have someone say, oh, something fell, right? So we got to be also prepared for those type of feedback, but you have to start doing it. You
Yeah.
have to start doing it and see what the response is.
Exactly. And that's, I mean, you gotta get your hands wet. You gotta get, you gotta get in there and actually feel the product for itself.
Yes.
It's really awesome. What I wanted to ask was the other benefits though to working with them though is that you have time. And in this sense, in this situation where you're given time as well, right? You can start on a project and you don't feel like you have to finish it right away. You can breathe, you can let it develop. And if you want to, crank them out at any time, it's not something that's, so pressured for time. Which is
Absolutely. And you brought a very good point. It's that as a professional using preserves, the whole concern about a perishable or dealing with a perishable item is gone. That you will be able to manipulate that flower and really run your own timeline because you don't have to be concerned about opening or starting to wilt a little. You don't have those things. And then in terms of inventory, you're also able to plan, just to make your purchases and say, what, for the month of April, I have X amount in different sizes, different colors, and these are the designs that we're going to do for the month.
yeah.
So for someone that is in Nebraska that don't necessarily get all the flowers daily that we get here in Miami, and they want the best Ecuadorian roses, right?
Yeah.
Preserved roses from Ecuador or Colombia are going to be an amazing option for them. So it just gives you so many positives. And then for the client that wants the natural, the fresh flower, then you give them fresh. And especially here in where we are in Miami, we do have the luxury of having fresh flowers every day.
Yeah.
So that part of the clientele is taken care of. Now you're also
Oh no, I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
no worries. Now you're also being able to take care of the other clientele that needs that, to take those extra steps to have flowers around or for their home or their special event.
So how are you staying engaged with your audience? With staying at home and social distancing, are you trying anything differently while you're home? Or I know you're right. I'm trying something different right now. So how about yourself?
Yes. My way of connecting has been to be on social media, posting something every day.
Mm-hmm.
My posts are usually, yes, beautiful image from one of my fellow photographers documenting our work or our event. But I kind of give a message of, let's think about something. So I have been able to do that every day, which for me, when I'm working, and I always tell people I'm working with my hands, so being on the phone is usually not, something that I have the luxury of being on it all the time. But I have made it a point, and it has made a difference. It has really allowed me to still feel the connection with how people reply, how people check on me. I'm very grateful for my clients who have called and be like, how are you doing? Did you close? Are you reopening?
Yeah.
I just had a post, I think last week, about nostalgia. And I got phone calls from that post. Many people shared what they're nostalgic about. And that's the line that I like to engage in. It's like, let's talk about something. Like, yes, the flowers are beautiful, and I can't take credit for flowers. That is nature.
Yeah.
I can take credit for selecting them
Mm-hmm.
and curating something that I feel has a story to tell. That's why I love my clients to give me information, details about who's receiving them, because I want that person to receive them and have a moment of joy.
Yeah.
The flowers may die 3 days later, but that moment of joy remains.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I also think that that's why I love signature blooms, because yes, they're super delicate and they may not have a long base life, but man, when you see an anemone or ranunculus come in, poof, you're gone. It's such an impact.
Yeah.
So that's what we keep. And another thing that I'm going to start doing it in um, next week. I have my first virtual workshop. Um, Ashley, I have to say I am a perfectionist,
Yeah.
and I have hidden from it. Like I didn't want to say that,
To be
but
honest.
I felt that I didn't have like all the elements in line and in place, and oh my goodness, this huge responsibility of not making my followers waste their time.
Or your time and money and resources.
But I've had a lot of flower fanatics say like, hey, when can we do something? So I said, you know what? Let me start basic. Let me share with the following, with all of our followers, some basic elements. So we're gonna have them in English and Spanish.
Awesome.
So our Monday workshop is free of cost. I always tell them that the cost is the time, the material, and their enthusiasm.
That's wonderful.
So, that's how we're going to start these series of workshops. And it's just with the intention of helping people kind of conceptualize how to make their spaces cozier.
Mm-hmm.
How to bring an element of nature inside that home, and to see how the great impact that having greens, having plants, having flowers does to one's day.
Okay.
Because it improves your creativity, your productivity, your mood. So that is another way. I was like, through this workshop, I'm going to be able to give,
Okay.
and I know I will receive tenfold. And then it's going to start me getting more comfortable with the concept of, all right, now we can do workshops for those that want to make this a business.
Yeah. Yeah. This is almost, I feel like, I don't know if this is going to be our new norm, how often we need to start engaging behind cameras, but I saw one recently of a florist promoting their shop literally behind a whole setup with, flowers right here, and speaking directly just to, open up this dialogue and get less shy, I guess. I'm like scared of this camera. I don't like it. It's too much on me.
No, but listen, I think that pushing ourselves to do or engage in things that we're not comfortable with, it's important, because it just makes us grow, personally and professionally. And my past profession forced me to go out and speak, in front of hundreds of people.
What was that?
And it's been 4 years, so I'm a little rough, but I do love being able to connect with people regardless of the vehicle that we use. So I'm hopeful that being pushed to consider virtual everything, it's going to open that door for me, just to make it easier to connect with people anywhere, so it's exciting.
That's great advice. I'd say for any other florist who's in the same position, trying to navigate and working through that's something that I would definitely recommend to other people, is to, not be afraid. That's wonderful. What is your deadline for Mother's Day? What is
so for our I know for our designs for Mother's Day, it's May 1st.
Okay.
So it's this Friday. And just because we need to order our flowers and have them, how it is, have them here on time and prep them. But we will be able to take more orders for Designer's Choice next week. So most likely by Wednesday of next week will be our cutoff for Designer's Choice.
Okay.
And then Thursday and Friday we'll be executing all of our designs, and we'll start our deliveries in Broward on Friday, and then Miami-Dade on Saturday. And my team and I will get to enjoy Mother's Day and having, breakfast in bed on Sunday.
Yay. Well deserved,
Yes.
by the way. It's crazy that it's 2 weeks away, right? This whole time is just flying. So
Yeah.
I have to ask, just because people I'm sure might be curious, are you guys doing anything different for the coronavirus and how you do your deliveries or your process? Do you want to just like share a little bit about what you guys are doing right now?
Absolutely. So, personally, we were debating about the gloves, right? There is this train of thought that it's pretty much you're doing cross contamination, and you are listening to doctors say that the best thing you can do is wash your hands. Wash your hands for for 20 seconds and wash them often. And so I
Yes.
have to say that I didn't have the habit of working with gloves before.
Yeah,
Never liked them, even though I have an allergic reaction to some flowers. I really just, for therapy reasons, I love feeling the flowers.
yeah, you have more control.
More control, and for me, I just feel like how this petal is different from that petal.
Yeah, texture. Yeah.
I know, kind of experience.
Yeah.
So now it's like, we need to have extra steps. So for sure, within my team, using our masks, for sure, having different stations. So instead of working on our big table, now we're going to have 4 stations. Washing our hands and having all the equipment, all the supplies there.
Yeah.
And then we are going to also be delivering and use our trays. So either our client opens up and they can take it from the tray, or a lot of them will have signs saying like for deliveries, drop out the door and call.
Okay.
So we're going to be doing that. We will have gloves for transporting purposes, but I am still seeing how that's going to kind of play out, because I think that honestly, Ashley, there is this sense of relief when you see people wearing gloves and a mask, and it just kind of gives you that like, okay, they're taking those steps. But when you think about what the gloves and not using them at the proper environment, I'm still looking at that, to be honest.
Yeah, because you don't want to be wasteful. You don't want to just like keep accumulating rubber and plastic and just throwing away things. And I mean, yeah, I'm no expert, but maybe just if you put it on right before delivery, that's one thing for a face-to-face peace of mind. But I completely understand. It's like you're touching the car. You're gonna touch things anyway. You're gonna touch everything.
Absolutely. And what I've had some clients tell me, because I with some that they order frequently, they said, don't worry about it. We actually clean the base with, a little bit of, I'm like, okay, that's great. I appreciate that. They're also just like when you're grocery shopping and you bring groceries, and a lot of people are going through this, whole protocol of sanitizing. So I think that, as someone that is providing a service, I know that the cleanliness of the space, of the hands, and the contact with our team is going to be following CDC protocol.
I think that's good enough, because otherwise, we can't be afraid to, be in contact completely. We gotta, we still have to get our groceries, like you said. We're still
Absolutely.
I'm still gonna wash them in the sink and then eat. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Absolutely.
It's crazy. Oh, well, I hope that you have a great Mother's Day, and that that all this stuff that's going on doesn't slow you down, but it just makes you more innovative and more creative and just more motivated, because like you said, this is a labor of love, and people right now need and they want flowers to lift people's spirits. So it's kind of like the best reason to go into this, making things with love, knowing that there's a lot of moms out there who are who are having a tough time right now. It's very emotional.
Yeah, and one of the ways that we felt that we could improve and make also our online boutique a must stop was by partnering once again with local and small businesses that offer different types of gifts. So we are doing this with Tarbai, which is a jewelry store. All of their jewelry pieces are made by women. We are going to be partnering with Misha's Cupcakes as well, as we've done in the past, and have bouquets at their Sunset store for our clients to be able to pick up their goodies and flowers as well.
Yeah.
Our cow chocolates, it's one of the brands that the only brand that we use for chocolates. And so we're trying to make those alliances with people that we have worked in the past to support each other. And for me, it just represents that I'm going to be able to give my flower fanatics more options to complement their flowers. So I'm very excited about that, and that's going to be year round. It's not something that we're going to have only for Mother's Day.
That's perfect. And it's so convenient because right now people are trying to make fewer stops. They're afraid to go out to places. So it's like if you get that one stop that's got everything all there, that's so convenient. What a great service to be able to offer, especially on this unique time. But to do it year round is just a blessing. That's really
we're excited. We're very excited about being able to to provide that. And these are my favorite products. So that's how I roll.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of us follow that. It's like whatever you have tried and you've seen, that it just brings more into your life, then you are very comfortable in sharing it.
Yeah.
I don't feel that I have to convince anybody. Like, my super earrings are from Tarbai, and this is kind of my uniform. I love them and I wear them a lot. And then it's just making your store be a reflection of you, because in my case, I am my brand, right? It's called Flower Fanatic, but I am the Flower Fanatic. I am I am the number one fan, right, of the business and of Flower Fanatic. So I think this is just a wonderful opportunity to start thinking, how can you complement, not that you're stopping from offering flowers, because that is our bread and butter, but how can we enhance the experience? And there's a lot of amazing creatives, a lot of wonderful entrepreneurs that are creating products that will just complement your products. So start making those connections.
It's very smart. That's awesome. I'm very happy to see how far you're growing and how far you're taking this. And I see the sky's the limit for you. I'm very just.
We're certainly we're in a good place. There's a lot of unknown, a lot of uncertainty, but within that, we are choosing to stay optimistic and keep on going.
You got to. That's all you can. That's all we can. Well, I can't wait to see you when all of this is over, and really, really just look forward to everything. I want to thank you so much for your time and for joining us, and I hope you have a wonderful Mother's Day, really. We can connect with you on flowerfanaticmiami.com. Is that where we can reach you, or what's your website?
Yes, our online boutique is at flowerfanaticmiami.com, and you will be able to find all of our floral designs and our products for you to choose the ones that you love the most.
Awesome, wonderful. Well, Maria, thank you again. I really appreciate it, and just keep us posted. I look forward to staying in touch and seeing what you have. If you ever need anything, you know where to reach us.
Yes, right. Yes, we do.
All right, take care.
Bye, Ashley.
Bye, thank you. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us for the Fresh Take. We'll follow up with the next episode. Stay safe, and we wish you a wonderful Mother's Day. Take care.